one night I didn't close the bar properly. Like all the customers, I was drunk with them. Like we were arguing about politics and it was wild. Like I left the safe open. I didn't clean up the bar.
Unconditional love for myself. And then that's where it started. Whoa, I truly love myself. Hey folks, Nick with the Mind's Gateway here. Man, we got a special guest today.
We're here with a good friend of ours, Jazelle Marie, also known as Dripping in Divinity. And we would love to introduce her to all of you guys and hear a little bit of what she has to say.
So I am here to share a little bit of my wisdom, my experience of life and connecting to the divine and just the human experience, being spiritual beings while having a human experience in this earthly realm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's start with your actual process of awakening. Like, what kind of sparked the idea of your consciousness and that there's more to your physical body than just or more to consciousness than your physical body. Excuse me, I said that backward. Tell us your story.
I think it started when I was maybe 7 or 8. I've been writing since I was young, and I feel that spirit would speak through me when I would be writing, so I knew something was different about my abilities and the way that I could articulate words and put them into this.
You knew something was already, yeah.
I knew I was different, and just a little backstory. I'm mixed. My parents are white complected, so I was raised in like an all white family and in an all Mexican town, and I'm the only dark skinned girl there. So I already was the black sheep of the family, and growing up, I struggled with my ability to feel safe in my skin, to feel like I was beautiful, to honor my gifts and my abilities. I got bullied for them. I was like, oh, you're so sensitive. People were like, what's wrong with you? Why are you, why are you over there writing poems all day? Like, and so I hid that part of me away for a lot of years. And so that's where I feel like the journey began, is like I was seeking something to fill this void that I felt within me, and so I was out there partying, I was doing drugs, I was just recklessly like doing whatever just to get the temporary attention or validation or whatever it is that I thought that I needed from people, and I started traveling. I broke out of my after I graduated high school, I broke out of my hometown and I traveled to Lake Tahoe to work at the ski resort. And one night I had a bunch of bottles of wine. I was housekeeping, so we would get to keep all this stuff. Yeah. And I'm home just researching, on YouTube, these crazy, back in the day, it was like Illuminati and all these weird videos about like the government. And so that is what really sparked my journey. I'm not going to lie. Like I was doing some crazy research and I was just like, no way, like all this stuff's happening. And I started realizing like, maybe everything I've been taught is a lie. Maybe like something is off here. There was just something, and it didn't resonate with me. Like I knew regular life didn't resonate with me. So after, going on this deep dive down the rabbit hole, I called my mom and I'm like drunk as shit. Excuse my language.
It's okay.
And I'm like, Mom, I think I've gone crazy. Like, I don't know what's happening. Everything I've ever been taught to lie. And she's just like, Jazz, like, what have you been looking at? And I'm like, these videos, like, they're telling me, that there's otherworldly beings and we're not the only thing here. And we are an extension, like we're in a matrix and all this craziness that I'm like, I didn't even understand. And at some point I finally had to break away from that. And whenever your body gets overwhelmed or overstimulated, it's good to just take a breath.
Absolutely.
Shake it out. It sparked from that crazy little trip. And from that experience, I realized like, okay, I'm not alone in this. There's other people out there that are thinking this way. And I just have to go out there and find them.
That was pretty much the step of your journey. You started to realize that there's so much more out there. And it becomes intriguing because that's exactly what happened to me. My situation was an all of a sudden snap to reality of what now I know is reality. Before I was in that that closet of consciousness, I was just sitting there. Yes. Numb to that true reality of the mind. And the mind is so powerful. Now I realize how powerful it can be. So it's an everyday journey for me, you know, personally. It's just, and it's fascinating. I can't stop. I got chills, right? Look at that. Look at that. It's so,
Spirits here.
and you know, there's always going to be that person that says like, oh, that's kind of weird, or that skeptic. But, you know, our mission on this channel, our mission in life is to show these people that, man, there's just so much more. And to walk in true love and to be in that state. Yeah. There's things that transform in your body and transform in your soul when you start actually connecting to your soul, you know, and at that connection, what I felt was unconditional love for myself. And then that's where it started. Whoa, I truly love myself. Yeah, it's really, you know, and then it just became fascinating for me from there, and I just can't stop, and that's our mission, you know. Let's educate and show the people how powerful your mind can be. You know what I mean? It can be so powerful, or it can be so devastating. And I believe people are caught in the closet of consciousness, which, you know, what I mean about that is just not being able to open the door, and just not being able to see what's past just normal reality. And man, once you do, folks, I'm telling you, there's things that open up in your life that are incredible. Literally, the most incredible things are inside yourself.
You know, I think a lot of it with the being in the closet of consciousness, I want to just have to keep in mind that we have to really give ourselves that time to be still.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yes. And really just like separate ourselves from everything that we're surrounded by, you know, our daily influence. Yeah. We really have to sit down. Like the Bible says, be still and know that I am God. You know what I mean? So when each one of us sits down and says that, who is it speaking of? You know, it's that's when we have those revelations of self, you know, when we
Amen.
have that time to sit down.
When we are the Christ consciousness.
Yeah, we truly are. And it took me a psychedelic experience to realize that, you know, and I'm so glad that it did. Like today, like sitting here, I can really appreciate the moment.
Yeah.
Instead of just living yesterday or tomorrow. Like the moment is really what is truly existing for me, you know, and that's the fascinating thing about it. The more you kind of go down that rabbit hole, it just,
the past and the future only exist in the present.
They really only do. Yeah. It's crazy and fascinating at the same time. So let's get back to your journey. You know, we want to hear more about you.
Oh my gosh. So what really like broke it all off, what really like sent me blasting off, like throughout the years, I started traveling. I went and lived in Atlanta, and I went fish processing in Alaska for over 8 years. And that journey like changed my life. I met all these amazing people, all these wild adventurers, and they opened up this whole spark in me that I didn't realize that was even there. And
fascinating.
I became like this pioneer for everybody else who wasn't ready to go home. And we took a ferry from Alaska to Washington and worked at this this wedding destination resort. And from there, we went to another ski resort. We came back home, and, you know, it was Croptober, and it was perfect timing for all that. Then went right back. And so 1 year, over those years, you know, I was still kind of seeking that something to fill me up. And so I was deep in my alcohol journey. Like I got really bad with alcohol to the point where I was blacking out. I was masking so much pain and so much rage that I didn't realize that I was projecting that onto people.
Yeah.
So every time I was getting drunk, I'd be all telling off my friends. Like we'd get in fights. I'd be telling off my boss. And so what finally hit me, I moved to, I took a break from the fish in 2021, and I flew my friend's cat to this dive bar in the middle of the nowhere. You can only get there by boat or plane. And she was like, my boss has a job. You can move above the bar. There's rooms up here. I became a bartender and that was my first time, like, really going all in and staying at one job for a whole year. It was so cool. So during that experience, I was recklessly drunk. She would let us drink. One night, I didn't close the bar properly. Like all the customers, I was drunk with them. Like we were arguing about politics, and it was wild. Like I left the safe open. I didn't clean up the bar. It was bad. My friends saw me. Well, she has a video recording of us going up our rooms and stuff. And I guess I was crawling up the stairs. I rolled back down. My friends had to drag me up. She showed
Your reality.
yeah,
Basically.
like, oh my God.
Yeah, and
She shows you a video.
oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, is that me? Like, that's when it really hit me. I have to, this is a problem now. Now it's something deeper.
Self-realization. Self-realization. Absolutely.
This deep journey. Over the next few months, I decided, you know what? I got to get back to the roots. This is my mantra. This is like the title of my book that it will be published soon. Back to the Roots, Rewriting Her Story.
Put a link.
And yes. And it's pretty much telling the story of how like I had to get back to the roots of my childhood trauma to recognize, oh my gosh, like I'm over here projecting and masking and pretending when I'm not dealing with these inner emotions that are stuck within my body and my mind.
And they build up so fast and so deep. They go so deep and
you won't even realize it. So I'm over here having these abandonment wounds and I'm realizing, okay, where does this stem from? I didn't know my biological father. So I'm like, I got to get back to the roots of my ancestral lineage.
Yeah,
Go and take this 23andMe DNA test. I connect with this 95-year-old lady who I'm like not even sure if she's still alive. I have to Google her, to call her landline, tell her the story of like how she connected with me. And they're saying she's my great aunt. Wow. So I tell her the whole story. She's like, well, my grandson of mine, he was, in Vegas in 91 and da-da-da. I tell my mom that, oh my God, I dated that guy in high school, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward, it ends up being my great grandma. She's still alive in Vegas. And I have like 7 siblings. I have all this whole family. So I go down and meet them. It's this whole transformation. And I'm in Alaska when I find this out, though. I go to Cabo. I go on this one last drunken binge. I come back and I'm like, I got to get sober. I decide I'm quitting cold turkey. Just November 15th, I'm done. I had already quit smoking cigarettes. It had been like a year and a half.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
It's been 4 years now without cigarettes and 3.5 years without alcohol.
An amazing feat. I know not a lot of people can say that.
And that's where it connected. That's where I got it. That's what happened. And when I realized I have to face these things in order to be able to be my true authentic self, in order to align with the right people who have that same consciousness, reality, and energy, because everything is energy. We are energetic beings. So if we are vibrating on this lower frequency, we're only attracting low vibrating things.
Power of attraction.
Everything.
It's real.
Yeah.
Power of attraction.
So I was stuck. And I realized after a month and a half of quitting alcohol, I had to quit the job at the bar. I had to go back home and get back to the roots of my childhood, everything in Orange Cove, and come back home to the places where I felt like not good about myself and where I got bullied. I could come back and laugh and smile. And definitely, you know what I mean? Overcome that, because that's what was hiding deep beneath it all. I was an insecure girl trying to seek validation from anywhere I could find it. And I didn't realize it was blocking so much. I had it all within me. Right. And through my writing and my flowetry is how I was able to channel that and realize like, oh, this needs to come out, and I need to like transmute it and turn it into, turn it from pain to power.
Exactly. Express that energy. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's really what took it off for me. Like,
so then, along that journey, when did you realize that your soul was physical and that there was, there was something out there calling you? Was there a certain time, or did it happen slowly, or was it like smack in your face like mine was just over a 20-minute, like mine was incredible. How did your soul connect with you on the first time?
So I've tried many different psychedelics. I've had DMT. I've tried something else that was salvia. I like that, Trish. Wow. That was a whole that was a that's anything showed me that I was not part of I was good.
Yeah. That's DMT for you right there too.
But I've done acid. I've tried all these other things. One time I tried LSD and I was on a sailboat and I was like in the embroidery of the sea. I was like in a boat. Yeah. And all these people are like, how's it feeling? And I'm looking at her face as she's asking me, how are you feeling? And I could literally like read the words in vibration on her face. It was so mind blowing. And I'm like, okay, this is really something else. I was sober at this point already as well. So you were sober, alcohol and other things. So it was able to like connect, in that space. And at some point I felt like, you know what, when it really hit, you guys, I've done a lot of things, but when I gave birth to my baby,
okay,
I cannot explain that. I was God herself in that moment.
You were.
There was no way nobody could tell me anything else. And the fact that my mind allowed me to go into this hypnobirthing state where I'm just like,
Because powerful, executive, or powerful.
I was breathing and moving and shaking, and I didn't even feel most of my contractions. I didn't even feel the ring of fire that they say when he's coming out. I had no epidural, and I wasn't on my back, how they say it. I was like upright, like on the back of the bed, you know what I mean? And I was kind of squatting and just moving my hips, deep breathing, and I was in this other space. And he came out just like 3 breaths. Like, that's when I knew. That's when it really hit me. Like, I knew all the other times it was like, okay, I'm connecting, spirit's giving me signs and signals. But that moment was when it was like, this is undeniable.
That was the awakening. Yeah, that's fantastic.
And that was just last year. I mean, the awakening started in 2008, 2009. But over the years, dabbling here and there, it's kind of opening the portals, you know? And that was the ultimate portal. I was like, I just brought life from another realm to this one. Like, I am God in human form, expressing itself, you know? And
that's fine. I feel your energy. Yeah, same way. Feel it. It's fantastic.
That's a powerful experience right there, man. No doubt. You know, so you mentioned earlier about the flowetry, you know, in changing, you know, bringing how you mentioned from pain to power. You know, if you wouldn't mind, we'd love to hear a little flowetry or
absolutely,
yeah, man, a little example or something.
So the one that really hits me the most is, well, it's actually 3 different pieces, which I wrote in 3 different times of my life. And then I've been connecting with different people, members of the community in Fresno, and I got asked to share some flowetry in an event. And so I'm like, what am I going to share? And I merged these 3 pieces and I called it the transformation of self. Because it was like, it went from this piece to a realization of like, oh my gosh, this is the way, this is the answer. And then it turned into like, this is who I am now. This is how you have to come at me. I'm just setting boundaries. I'm no longer people pleasing. It just like full like, woo!
Really?
So it starts off as insecurely me. These insecurities, they won't let me breathe. They won't let me be. I'm suffocating. I gasp for one last chance to prove my worth. My lungs collapse as I dance to entertain the thought of my words being spoken in vain. This is insane. Am I going insane? While I was praising other people, I was playing myself. While I was gaming other players, I neglected myself. I've been rejecting myself. That affected my health. They say you live and you learn. Another notch under my belt. I know this energy's felt. Knowledge is power, and now I'm spreading the wealth. And I won't allow you to defeat me. So I decide to cut these soul ties completely. Older versions of me are depleting. Release me. I release thee. Unhealthy attachments that lead me to believe that it's time to unlatch this toxicity. It's greedy. Detached from codependency, I freed me. The thoughts inside no longer eat me alive. There's no need to hide. I'm healing. Bird's eye mind, half the world is blind, I'm seeing. I've got that 2015 vision. My words are thought of with precision, and as they are written, my penmanship continues shifting. Like I'm hopping dimensions, I'm making conscious decisions. I've got a heart that is driven with the purest intentions, and I'm gratefully living. Are you feeling my rhythm? This vortex suggests that it's necessary to address the temptation to suppress the things we need to express. And yes, I may stumble, but I always catch my foot. No, I won't put it in my mouth. Instead, I choose to slip into comfortable shoes that confidently step into my power. Midnight strikes the clock. I can't stop. Now is the time. It is the hour to devour the taste of your thoughts in the back of your throat waiting to be spoke. I hope you feel me when my 2 eyes fail me. I take a deep breath, and the third one prevails me. My intuition, she tells me all the dirty little secrets held from me. The energy sings, I can see clearly now, the rain has gone. My psyche just might be a tad bit frightening. No, I won't follow those trying to blindly guide me. It's highly unlikely. It's highly unlike me. Not feeling my vibe, click on follow and like me. Elevate and meditate. We aren't with the fighting. She's rare and enticing. Talk to me nicely.
was beautiful.
Powerful.
Yes,
I absolutely felt on every part of it, you know. All right.
I did.
Thank you for letting me share that.
Yes. Hey, thank you for sharing it.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Truly. You know, there was just when with the videos that you had posted recently about the flowetry, that was actually the first time I ever heard of flowetry, you know, and it was beautiful to hear.
It really is. It was, you know, and I'm sure people out there like me can relate to so much of that. I was just like you were talking to me.
Just it goes to show what we could turn, like, you know, what ones we call the darkest part of our lives. You know what I mean? Like we can totally use that.
Yeah. Definitely.
As these stepping stones from pain to power. You know, I mean, it's beautiful, you know, and
that's the journey.
Yeah, it truly is, man.
It's, you know, being aware of your soul in my mind is kind of like the first step, and just acknowledging it.
Yeah.
Just that simple acknowledgement, you know, is kind of the start for me, and just realizing, wow, it's really there.
Yeah, true, brother.
There's a lot more to life than our reality, you know. So, you know, like the mission for all of us is kind of a really weird mission. You know, you try to explain to somebody about consciousness, but it's kind of like explaining to a blind person what the color blue looks like. How do you do that? You know, it's like there's so many ways of doing it, but how would they understand? And that's the kind of the process is don't ever understand. We'll never understand. It's only just the faith.
Yeah.
You know, we'll never understand all of this and all this stuff that's thrown at us. And the things that I've seen in just meditation and the places my mind has taken me through psychedelics. How do you understand all that? You know, and it's just like, that's the uphill battle of every day, is trying to understand that. Can you relate to that? I mean, that's like, it's a struggle, you know, like anything else that's beautiful in life. It's there. You want it. You just have to get that path to it. You know, for sure.
Yeah. I think that when we realize that, everything without darkness, there cannot be light, and without light, there cannot be darkness. So there's always the balance of things. And once we learn to integrate that shadow self, they consider that part of us, the rejected self, the part of you that was told, hey, you're not good enough. You're too sensitive. You can't express yourself. So you start suppressing that part of you back in there. And I've been learning through, I am a certified massage therapist.
Yeah.
A Reiki.
We'll link the phone number down below.
Yes. And a Reiki, I do energy movement. I connect with the body on different levels. And after I started learning through my own experiences, not through psychology and taking all these classes, that, I have to get down in there in order to like work through this stuff so that I can be my true authentic self, so that I can align with the right people, so that I can become who I'm meant to be, because I'm over here being this other person for these people who don't even really like me.
Right.
I don't even really like them.
Right.
We don't even have anything in common anymore. So that's the power of like shifting your mindset and your thought and the ways that things affect us, that our external is a reflection of our internal.
Absolutely.
And I think, once I got into that.
Yeah. And then it just makes you want to know more and more and more. What's this all about, you know?
So integrating your shadow, right, is like, hey, Jazzy, it's okay to express yourself. You're safe to be seen now.
Yeah.
Integrating her and letting her know, hey, it's good. You're here too. Like, it's like honoring the light, the version of me that's like all dripping in divinity, you know? I am here. I am her. I am she. I finally stepped into that. But that version of me is still in there, still wanting to say, hi, I'm here, back over here. Can you let everybody know I want to be seen too? So that is the part where I realize, until we can do that, it's about acceptance. It's about accepting that part of ourselves and not having to change it and fix it and call it something what it's not. It's about just saying, come here. I see you.
Yes.
They see you too. Here we are. We're here together. And that's when I was like, I love myself so much. Like, you know, And I had these epiphanies over the years of like, I could stand in front of a mirror. I have morning affirmations with my son. And we go in there and we're like, I am beautiful. I am intelligent. I am creative. I am worthy. We have everything to offer the world. We are safe in our skin. We are deserving. We are luxurious. And I'm like, and I am Jazelle Marie Pinkston.
Right, that case, absolutely.
And we do that. And then we like touch the mirror. He wants to go and like affirm it like, yes, you know, and it's really powerful. The power of thought. He sees himself anywhere he goes in a mirror or something. And he just like, yes, like he loves himself. And I want to make sure, I feel that I'm called to connect with anybody who was willing to receive it, but the youth specifically. I have a childlike personality. I have a way of connecting to kids on a whole nother level to get through to them. Like, hey, let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. And I'll be like, stick out your tongue. And we do it, you know, and teaching them how to regulate their emotions and how to feel safe in their body and how to like train and control,
connect to
themselves. And connect.
Yes,
and,
the connection. I think a lot of the connection, even in all the religions of the world, you know, and especially within our own consciousness, the connection has been lost over time. You know, can you agree with that? Like there's definitely a shift in humanity at some point to where, you know, back in the day, in the biblical times, people were living to 500-600 years old. I mean, it's documented, you know, it's facts. And I think just like the suppression of our actual true self was not only for greed and power for the humans, you know, at that time, at that shift, but it really deterred our living capacity, you know. And it's really sad, but beautiful at the same time, because now we have something to strive for, you know, showing other people how beautiful it is to be yourself.
Yes.
And to connect with your soul, because that's the whole purpose. You know, there's no other purpose. Enlightening yourself with soul connection. I mean, that's the purpose.
And in doing the inner work is how we connect to other people and how we vibrate to that frequency of allowing those energies to exchange. You know what I mean? Like we can't even make those connections without rising above it.
Yeah.
And that's the power.
That's the power.
Power of thought. Yeah.
So I wanna change directions. I know you have an upcoming event down south, you know, in South America. But you've also had some prior experiences. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and where you're going to be going here pretty soon?
So
from the beginning. We want to hear it, folks. This is exciting stuff.
It is really powerful. Being able to connect to spirit through plant medicines, through
Amen.
The ways that in which God gave us the tools. Don't I read? Like it's right there and it's in the Bible. Exactly. So it tells us that we are one with all. And so if the earth, whatever is on the earth is for us and in alignment with us, when I've taken, you know, psychedelics like psilocybin and other things, ayahuasca, grandmother medicine, it has been like a deeply empowering experience. For me, I was expecting to see all these things and have all this vision.
Right. That's the stigma.
That's what they say.
Like, whoa, you're going out of your body and it's going to be just crazy beyond belief.
And I'll say for some, it may get to that point because if spirit needs to get through to you in that way, I suppose it is, because there was a couple people who saw snakes and things and the message came through to them with symbols that resonated with whatever, you know, that they needed to know. So for me, and they also say that you are purging, throwing up and all this stuff. I actually didn't throw up. I was like crying. I went to the restroom. Yeah. And it was a different experience for me. So the first time I sat with grandmother medicine, it was like, okay, I have no idea what to expect. I'm over here with all these expectations. And I didn't have anything. I just had these random judgmental thoughts crossing my mind. And I'm sitting at I know. I'm sitting at the fire, right? And I'm just there like, and I look up and I'm looking around and I just see this lady and I'm like, oh, you know, she's sweet, whatever. We met earlier in the day, but we're all sitting because the medicine takes place between like 10 p.m. and 6 a.m., 8 a.m. Like it's overnight, you know? So we're sitting in a big circle.
Is that pretty, is that a common practice, you know, like a day?
experience, or is that like is all shamans different?
It's night for sure. From what I know of, it's supposed to take place overnight because like those are the hours I believe that we are most
Right. That's why I asked that, because I've seen many different journeys, but
and this specific guy does not. He says that the shaman term is considered the colonizer's term, and it's not what they go by. It's a spiritual authority, a spiritual advisor, or whatever. So he connects to the elders, and he's just really. It's a very interesting experience.
Oh man!
And so he is the real deal from Colombia, and I just love that I was able to open up my mind and realize like there's much more beneath this. And so the medicine connects you and heals you on a cellular level. So it goes through every cell, and it's like all these layers in the body. There's like 7 energetic bodies.
Absolutely.
So, it starts with the physical layer, physical body, which is the most dense, it works through all that. And then you're going through the mind, and it's like, the mind is really tricky. The mind is not you. You are not your mind. Your mind can manipulate.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So that is one of the hardest layers as well to get through, aside from the physical, because it's the most dense. But it's like the mind is where you get lost and tricked through. So that's why I was having these judgmental thoughts coming up, because it's bringing. He said he teaches that the medicine shows you to yourself.
Yeah.
So anything that you see and experience is a reflection of you.
The ego.
Yes. And then the true self obviously is at the base of it all.
Right.
So through all these layers, you got to work through all this, your mind, your thoughts, your emotions.
And is that the healing process?
Yes.
I've never personally had that honor to experience an ayahuasca retreat, but it's coming.
It's all clear. Yeah, it all does similar thing. No, even with my own experiences too, that's right. Like I come to understand that there's no such thing as a bad trip. You know what I mean? Because all these things that, that ones would classify as a bad trip, we have so much stuff that's, like it's even scientifically proven that we carry 15 generations of generational trauma.
Yes, that is a fact. Yeah, that's a fact.
Like we're bringing up these things that are deep down, you know what I mean? And we have to bring it up and confront it. I mean, it's so sad. Like, I don't think there's such thing as a bad trip. We have to confront it.
That basically you're detoxing your soul.
Yeah.
And the stuff that suppresses the true connection.
Which is the conditioning that we have gone through, and our generations before us have gone through this conditioning and this covering and masking of it all.
Yeah.
And that is where the medicine helps you break through that and but brings it up to show you like, hey, so I see this lady and I'm like, oh, why does her nose look like that? And then I'm like, Jazzy, what? Like, and I'm having a war with myself in my mind.
Right. Wow.
Like, and I'm like, who is this saying this? Like, I don't think that about this lady. She's so sweet. She was helping me with my baby. Like, what the heck? It was insane. Like, and so I realized after talking with my friend, she's my mentor as well. She's the one who introduced me to everybody. And she told me like, Jazz, like everything that you have been taught, everything that people have put onto you, and everything that you thought might have been the way to be has to come up and be released.
Yeah.
Come up for the awareness to see it, and then to be transmuted and released. And and that's where I truly felt like, okay, this is what this is. So it takes a long time to get to the true self. There's 7 dense layers you got to work through.
Yeah.
Your emotions, your thoughts is a whole separate thing from your mind. You're not your thoughts or your emotions.
No.
So it branches out to all these layers. And so I'm going through all of them because I've been an emotional being since I was a kid, and had this, the sensitivity and being able to feel at such profound levels that other people can't even understand. And
my wife says I'm sensitive. Too sensitive sometimes, but
never too sensitive for the right people.
The way it is,
And honestly, like, I think our sensitivity is a superpower. Like, that's a strength to be able to feel at this level, to be able to connect to yourself, to others on this. Yes. And I'm a feeler, so that's why I feel like I'm able to connect with my flowetry. It's like I'm telling you how it is from my thoughts and feelings in my heart and soul. Like, and you could feel it in your body and in your soul, because we are connected.
Yeah.
I am you and you are me. We are reflections. And that's the beauty of it all. Once you start taking the superficial things out of it, and you realize, hey, you are a reflection of me. Everything happening on the outside is a reflection of what's going on the inside. So if we don't do the inner work and we're so focused on the outer work, people are always like, oh, I'm going to go do this and I'm going to go this weight loss thing and going to get my face done. And I'm like, dang, like, do any of these people realize that the true work and what really matters is what's happening on the inside? Like, how do you think about yourself? How do you treat yourself? How do you treat others? What is the subliminal thoughts that you have in the back of your mind? Like, what is that like? Because that is where the pain and the anger and the rage and everything is just chilling back there, festering. That's a beautiful word.
It's a beautiful word for that. Festering is, and it can cause, those kind of suppressions can cause illness, sickness, and a lot of mental disorders as well.
Which we were taught in massage school. Literally, physically, it turns into physical, like all of the energy stored in your body with nowhere to go. It becomes knots and adhesions. Your muscles start staying cramped together. Then you have a crouched back, and now you're like, oh, I gotta go get pills because my back hurts, instead of getting a massage or working out or stretching and moving your body.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that we're not taught. The mind is connected to the body, is connected to the soul. Mind, body, spirit.
Soul. Yeah.
And
going to how you mentioned about it being a reflection. You know what I mean? A Virgin told me one time that when you look into the eyes of somebody, okay, when you look into someone's eyes, people have said you're looking into their soul. But if you truly get up close to someone's face, okay, and you look deep into their eyes, you're not seeing into their soul. You see a reflection of yourself in their eye. You understand? It's powerful when we truly look into someone's eyes. We see a reflection of ourselves. We have the demeanor and that's absolutely connectivity there. And that's beautiful, brother.
And that is so true. You look at it
ourselves,
and we do. Yeah.
Powerful, man. The angel numbers.
Oh, yes. So another way that some of us connect to spirit is through divination. And I just love these angel number message deck. Some of them, that's not like tarot. Tarot is a whole separate thing,
right,
which
I'm not very familiar with tarot.
It's another form of divination, spirit speaking through, but you have to know the cards. There's different suits and things, and
definitely.
But the magician, I'll say, I am the magician. The version of me that's the magician is like you go about life with a childlike perspective. Like, I could do anything. Nothing is going to stop me. I could just make magic happen anywhere I go. So that kind of energy, some of those cards represent that. So if you're going in with it's all about intention. That's what we have to get back to. People think that, oh, it's this, and there's all kinds of different perspectives around things. But I think at the end of the day, it all goes back down to the perspective of things. The intention, I'm sorry. If somebody has like malicious intentions, then the intentions or the outcome is going to be what it is. The repercussions, the energy is going to be matched. So with these types of cards, it's like I'm going in with like, I want an affirmation to claim for the day. So these cards specifically, I pulled one earlier. I'm going to have you guys pull one actually.
Okay.
Shuffle through and feel one it's cool. Your energy's on it. So the one I pulled earlier, or that was at the bottom of the deck that I was telling you about, number 16, I am perspective. Perceptive, sorry. Yeah.
I can look at it.
I'm going to read mine and then you guys could read yours. I am perceptive. You have an inquisitive mind that allows you to uncover important truths. You have a special ability to read into other people's feelings. A wisdom seeker and your angels ask to share your knowledge for the benefit of others. And it's so powerful because I set the intention around what we are doing here today, and that's what came up, like the power in for me, I'm so connected to spirit in these ways that I know if I need an answer and I just ask, I could pull a card and it'll come clear as day right there. In other ways, it'll be YouTube randomly popping up a suggested video, and I'm like, all right, let me see what this is. And it's some random message that I needed to hear in that moment.
It was constant.
Yeah, we just pay attention.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
What do you got there?
I'm innovative.
Thanks.
You are a self-starter with very innovative ways of, I don't have my glasses. Creating, I'm sorry, folks. I need glasses to read.
determination and endurance are powerful and will help you get through rough times and reach success. Wow, that's
Number
actually one.
yeah. And you initiated this whole thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, there was a collective, come on, but it's always a collective.
I got number 11, double one.
What?
But that's
fantastic.
you have keen awareness of what is happening around you. A strong intuition is your gift and will help you understand the unspoken feelings and thoughts of others. This insight allows you to be a great guide and supporter. I am intuitive.
That is perfect. That
is perfect.
that is perfectly.
isn't that an alignment?
Oh yeah.
Doesn't it feel like you
Yeah.
you got exactly what you needed to hear?
Definitely.
Truly.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I
Angel number.
yeah, and I think it's just really powerful. Like sometimes my odometer will say like 7171, or I'll see like the clock. My folk percentage is at 9% and it's 629. I'm like, all right, number 2929. I go look it up, and it's a whole message about
Wow.
something that I was going through in the moment that I needed just a little more. Like, hey, there's no mistake about this. And so for those of us that want to look at the world through the lens of gratitude and through the lens of like magical, mystical, wonder, that is where you're going to find it. The messages are going to come through clear as day, through a hummingbird passing by, through that plant popping out, right. And tailed under there, that little statue I saw, like that, getting back into that, like,
Yeah.
realizing that everything that we are taught, again, is intentionally meant to calcify that, to block it.
Yeah, totally.
And so I think that aside from allowing ourselves to be our authentic selves and trusting that we know, trusting ourselves ultimately, and not placing our power, giving our power away to others in order to, make decisions for us, like, oh, well, the government knows this, and oh, we're going to do this. Like, no, we have to claim and own, take accountability and responsibility for our own lives, for our thoughts, for our actions, for our energies, or everything. And
I
some
relate
people
to
are
that
so
much.
not aware of that. So they're just projecting all their stuff onto people, blaming everybody else and not looking at themselves.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. That's well said.
The whole thing of, our the power of our mind, you know what I mean? In the way that we think, and power of that, like, this one person had mentioned years ago that everything that we see with our physical eyes is just a side effect of what's happening in the spiritual. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's so much happening in the spiritual though, and so everything that we do see is just a side effect of that, But yeah, humanity needs to start having that time to really ground themselves, and it'll be a ripple, through the earth.
I do believe and I feel that there is a mass awakening. There's so many people talking about consciousness and talking about outer body experiences, astral projection, which is huge. I'm just starting to understand that myself and practice a true outer body experience, OBE. And there's several people out there on the internet that really know what they're doing. Darius J. Wright, he's one of them, and he's fascinating to listen to.
Yeah.
And it goes completely out of the realm of what I've always been taught. So when you start listening to, people of that caliber that completely have gone out of their body, on a daily or weekly or however he does, it starts, you're just like, how is that even possible? This isn't real. And then you experience a little tad bit of it. So what, in my, what happened to me is I experienced an outer body experience. My soul slipped out of my body and I physically felt it. It was physical. It didn't last long because it scared the crap out of me, and I slept right back. Oh yeah. But it was physical, and I could feel temperature, and I mean, it wasn't like a dream. So that's what's really sparked the avenue, or me wanting to figure out how I can have this outer body experience easily and safely. And have you dabbled with sleep paralysis? That's the gateway to that outer body experience.
I think it's like, oh, somebody's attacking me in my sleep.
And it's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
And
And it's I've experienced many sleep paralysis, but I don't think I've ever allowed myself to fully go on. And I'll say the one time that I can remember, which is wild because apparently I was only 1 year old, but I remember this experience, like seeing myself with my mom in a kitchen, like a island in a kitchen, and I was sitting there playing with a bowl of fake fruit, and I was grabbing them. There was grapes, there was pears, and there was an apple or something with little droplets, those little fake wax drops. Right. It was like I can remember it clear as day. I was trying to play with it, and they were holding my feet. And my mom, when I told her this, she was like, "How do you remember that? I took you to the guy who we thought was my father, to his parents' house, and they were comparing my feet. They're like, oh, she has her feet."
Scratching her head, like, what?
Yes. And so when I told her that, she was like, you were like 1. I was born in Vegas. We were still in Vegas. I was brought over here about 2.5. So it's just so fascinating that like at that age, I was already, tapped in. I knew we all are,
Yeah, absolutely.
But along the way, they say after the age of 7, we start to forget, and unless we are the energy is cultivated and we're able to like foster that strength and that ability.
A lot of that I think is the accumulation of knowledge too.
Yeah.
You're at about that age, and my point of view of it is just that you start accumulating like reality.
Yeah.
And you kind of start opening up that possibility of everything. I guess your imagination starts really hitting.
Yes.
About that age, and it suppresses a lot of natural abilities.
Mm-hmm.
It really does.
Kids, children. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Like around that time, first, like you mentioned about the age of 7, but I heard this one version say again that we're ones like with children. Okay, we're taught that way to teach our kids from the second that they're born. Yeah, teach them everything up to this point. You know what I mean? But he was saying that the true way to do it is that we should be asking these kids questions. Like even the Bible says that because man will never think twice to ask a child what is the meaning of life. Yes. I mean, they're still so much in tune with it, We should be asking them questions, not trying to teach them and program them at this age.
Yeah, right.
Should be asking them,
learning from them.
They're so much more connected to that source.
It's a purified mind at that point. They're pure.
Exactly.
It's a pure mind.
Like I was saying, out of the mouth of the baby suckling. You know what I mean? It's like, poor friend, yeah, we need to be asking the youth questions.
Yes,
man.
And those, those psychedelic journeys and the healings and those kind of things are as an adult, our way of purging all of the accumulation of negativity and even positivity, it's just so much, because I have been vastly in the psychedelic realms, and deep in, and it's fascinating what you learn about yourself.
Yeah, it's definitely a tool,
It definitely is.
It's like if we recognize the tools that we have and we start, all right, I'm going to put this on my belt. I'm going to have this. I got this. You have a whole set of skills and abilities and ways to tap in.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's up to you. It's up to yourself. It's up to you to decide, I'm going to do this. You can do all the medicines and sit with all the people and go to all these retreats, but ultimately you still have to sit with what's inside and do the dirty work. And that's the part where people are bypassing that I've noticed, that it's so easy to just spiritually bypass and just kind of escape through, well, I gave it all to God and I don't have to do nothing. It's all gone for me. And I'm like, oh no, it's way under there. What are you doing? And so it's so easy for people to see that and think, okay, I'm good. I don't have to and it's scary. We're taught that vulnerability is not safe. We can't express ourselves and be safe, to show that part of ourselves. So people can't even do it by themselves, just with them. I ask a lot of people, have you ever stood in front of a mirror and told yourself, I love you. I love you, Jazelle Marie. You're beautiful. You're confident. You're successful. I do that every day with my babies, since I'm by myself, because I never felt that way about myself, And now it's it's the power of my mind. Every day I'm like, I am living luxury. No matter what I do, I am rich in health and wealth and knowledge and wisdom and love, community. I have
acting in that love vibration, and that unconditional love for yourself. That's my my kind of realization that, man, I love myself no matter what. You know what I'm saying? On the bit. Exactly. No, that's my point.
On the bad days, do you mean what?
No matter what.
Yourself grace and compassion and understanding. Like, hey, I'm human. It's all right. We got this.
And I'm extremely important.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people think of themselves as not a very insignificant. Well, every single soul is significant.
The ripple is felt everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody's.
Even the bad people.
Yeah.
You know, they have a good soul. They're just choosing bad things.
Exactly. And they ultimately will teach us whatever we need to know about ourselves, what we don't want to settle for, what we going to allow in our life. So that's another thing, like changing our perspective to everything. Everything is looking at it through the lens of gratitude. Like, no matter what situation comes up, even if it's the worst thing in the world, oh my God, no, find a way to look at it from this way, from this perspective, and see that there's a lesson in that. There's some growth in that. And everything is a lesson and for the greater good of our own soul's expansion and our consciousness to be able to vibrate to a higher frequency and collectively connect to the rest of the world, you know? And that's where the power begins. It begins within the self. We're so busy seeking external things to help us, which some tools, I agree, we cannot get there without dabbling in certain ways.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Because they're pathways.
we need those doors to be opened.
Yeah, they're doorways. There you go. Yeah,
that's all it is. And once you go through that doorway, there's another doorway going left, and you got to pop in there real quick, and then you pop back out like, all right, I'm cool off that door. Now I got to keep going. And it's a constant journey, but it's understanding that it's everlasting, and you just got to enjoy the ride and look at it like, I cannot look at myself as a victim anymore. I'm a warrior. I'm a survivor. I'm thriving in my life. No matter what's happening, I look at anything as like, well, I needed to see that this person was showing me their true colors, and I'm sorry. It's unfortunate that they are where they are, but I know that this is part of their path and their journey, and having the honor, like holding space for that and not judging and not being like, well, you need to hurry up and get your stuff together, you know, instead just holding them and being like, you know what, you're on the right path. Keep going. Trust yourself. Love yourself.
Yeah. I battered with judgment. Yeah. You know, that's what I talked about earlier a little bit is I think everybody, I mean, that's a natural human thing to do.
It's been conditioned.
Yeah.
We've been conditioned,
obviously. Definitely. Would you,
there's no such thing as perfection. You know what I mean? And, no such thing as a perfection. And when you come to this gnosis of self, it's not like everything's crimson clover afterward. You know what I mean? Like it's an everyday.
It's an everyday battle. Uphill.
It's all the day I wake up, I rebuke all wickedness away from my life. You know what I mean? But we continue on that process,
Every day.
Every day.
Well, like in Christianity that you have to walk, walk in the path with God. Me personally, I walk in the path with myself right now until I understand it.
Yeah.
And then I can expand my mind, but it's like I'm truly finding myself at this point.
Yeah.
All are, brother.
Yeah. It's a good journey. It's a great journey. It's interesting and inspiring, at the same time. I'm inspiring myself to be better.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
And by doing that, you are vibrating at a higher frequency and attracting and aligning the connections that you need in order to continue on the path of whatever mission we're here to do. You know what I mean? Whatever spirit says, all right, Nick, you, Isaac, Will, Adonijah, everybody else that's involved, Jazelle Marie, you guys are coming together to create this impact, to send out this ripple effect into the world, And if this is the way to do it, because we have the world at our fingertips through technology.
We touch so many people.
This is the time to send it out. And
the mission.
Another thing, and right now it's, in Chinese astrology, it's the Chinese year of the snake. And so the snake represents divine feminine energy. The rise of the divine feminine is happening right now. The energies need to be shifting. We've been existing in a masculine world for so long that there's a lack of balance here. And
totally.
This year is also a 9 year. 2025, you add those numbers up, it's a 9. That's my life path number. And 9 represents endings, like it's a cycle complete, about to go into 10 is completion and rebirth, you know what I mean? And it's just so fascinating to see like how quickly this year had started off with boom, boom, so much change from all over.
All from everywhere.
From different parts of the world, from our administration to our country and ourselves, our family. Like I separated. I no longer aligned with a lot of people over the past few months through this journey after doing the medicine. we were taught as well, once you do this, you are agreeing to your highest self.
Yes.
And anything that is not in alignment with that, it has to fall away. And it's going to. Watch what it happened. And boom, sure enough, little fights were happening, little things that were just leading. But it ended up being like I was at peace. I wasn't like, I'm so mad at that. It was like, you know what? We're just no longer aligning. And I love you so much. And I'm still supporting you. Well, first, you have to separate. Because the energy, we got to
Underrated.
Oh, I love that. That's the beauty of seeing who we are. We're human. We have feelings.
If you could see in the light spectrum, our auras would be all going crazy.
Hues of blues and purple.
Absolutely. It's fascinating, man. It's really fascinating. So I kind of want to talk about more of your trips down south. You got one coming up. You were saying
2, actually.
2. I am jelly.
Yeah. So the first one is with the same people, the same community that I have been partaking in, sitting with grandmother, and we're going to the sacred land in the Amazon, and we're going to be there for 10 days. I'm bringing my baby because he is already introduced to the community, and he has been considered as an honor to be there. They were like, he is closest thing to spirit. He just came from that side. Like he is a gift. He's part of the medicine. So I'm just honored to be able to experience this and to be going through this. And we're going to be there for 10 days. And I'm just keeping my mind open, my heart open, ready to receive. And the word that's been coming up is courageous expansion. Yes. And I'm ready for that. I'm open to it. I've separated from all of the things aside from marijuana, which I still partake in heavily. But I think that I'm being called to take a little break and to get some full clarity, and especially before these types of experiences, they ask us to diet, and there is a no meat, no
well, there is a fast actually, isn't there? There is
it's like a whole thing, like no sugars, no fast foods, no processed foods, and so I don't even eat a lot of junk anyway. I don't really have sugar. But for the most part, like the little snacky snacks, like I'm trying to, all right, separate down with
those are
veggies and salads instead of like this other stuff. So, so we're gonna go do that, and I'm just ready to like immerse myself fully in the culture, the roots, connecting to my ancestors and the indigenous ways of being, and knowing that like this is the way, this is the original way, and whatever is to come of it is only going to be greater and more expansive. And I'm just really excited.
Wow.
So I'm coming back literally 5 days after coming back. I'm going back down to Costa Rica with another community of women that I've been involved with, Goddess Wisdom Council, my ladies, my girl Anita. I met her in Fresno. They're from Fresno, but they live in New York now. And they created this group of women who have different perspectives of healing. One of them is the embodiment coach. Yeah, she's all about the breath work and the movement and how we need to connect to the breath. Our breath is where the power lies.
Right. Yeah, that's where. Yeah.
And our body. And we learn eventually, like through somatics and that kind of energy, like the body keeps the score. That really is where trauma and energy is stored. If we are not moving and expressing and releasing it, it's staying stuck in there. Not getting that massaged out, like it's staying stored deep within the fascia. You know what I mean? And we're learning that on a neuromuscular level. It's literally like, it's insane, but it's beautiful to see the healing of it,
Yeah.
So Anita is the intimacy. She's connected to the ancestors very deeply. They are connected to the Yoruba tribe in West Africa. So it's very interesting. Like I have actual connection to that as well. In my DNA test, it showed up like connecting to West Africa. So like I feel like we're distant relatives too, and meeting them. And the other one is she's a heart whisperer. She connects you to your heart, allowing you to drop from your head into your heart and bringing that alignment.
So it's all, it sounds like chakras.
It's
are they chakra alignment or just
incorporating the chakras?
Okay. Into your physical energy.
Yeah. Okay. And so, I mean, each of them, because like the sexual, intimate, grounding ancestral is your root and sacral chakra. Those are the base of it all. That's where the creativity, your foundation, your security, all of that. And then as you go up, it's into your solar plexus, which is your confidence, your ability to shine and express yourself and to feel like, confident in who you are. Your heart is next, and that is ultimately one of the most important ones. It's the connector between the two, the two layers, the separation between the lower half and the higher half.
Yeah.
The heart is where it all resides, and then it goes up into the throat chakra, our ability to express ourselves and to speak up and to speak clearly, set boundaries, and you know what I mean? And then it's our third eye chakra, and that's our ability to see through the veil, to be able to connect and trust our intuition. It's all connected, though. And then our crown is there's more than that, but the 7 main ones.
Well, this is the main one.
Crown is like connected to spirit, your highest self. Like you are up there tapped into the ethers. Like, so when you're in your crown energy, like that's purple, and it's like the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet.
Yeah.
And once you look at everything that we are taught, it's all connected and intertwined. And through massage therapy school, we were taught about the Eastern segments as well, and learning like traditional Chinese medicine and how all of the meridians and like the way that they incorporate everything, it's co-connected to all of it. It's all intertwined. And the only thing that's kind of thrown off is the Western side. Like there is a little truth and facts behind the Western ways of teaching, but some of it's just a little distorted. Exactly.
It's really distorted. There's truths in every religion. In every religion on the planet, there's truth.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, from the real truth to what we're actually taught, there's a lot of distortion in there. And you got to weed out what is truth to you and what is, added in to yourself, because everybody perceives the Bible differently. We all don't have the same perception of the Bible or the Quran or, all of the different texts, teachings, tablets, emerald tablets. They all almost say the same thing. They really
gets down to love. Love is all it is.
Yeah, truly. Well, I heard one of the teachings of His Majesty is that as I Rastafari, it's I duty to learn all different faith and religions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And study all, but choose and follow only the good. So, like for I myself, studying all these different religions of faith, the only true goodness you could take from each one of them is love. It's the only goodness there is it. That's like love is key, brother. So yeah,
that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, truly.